Hello, my mathematicians. This is Miss Foster with Math in Focus, 4th grade, Chapter 8, Lesson 2, Subtracting Decimals, where once again we will explore that question. If we understand place value and regrouping, do we already know how to add and subtract decimals? I say yes with one added piece of information. You got to line up the decimals. Line them up. Just like an addition, my friends. I think you already know how to do this. Let's go take a look. So we have some subtraction problems here, and they, again, wrote them out sideways, but in your actual textbook, they ask you to copy these into the vertical format, stacking we sometimes call it, and that is so useful when we are using place value because it puts every digit in its place, and we use the decimals to help us with that. So let's take a look. Did we line up the decimals here? We sure do. For 8 and 9/10 minus 7 and 8/10, let's see, I'm going to start in the smallest place of value just in case I have to regroup. The superpower of place value. 9 minus 8 is 1/10. Ooh, I don't have to regroup. And in the single ones place, 8 minus 7 is 1. 1 and 1/10. Now, let's take a look at this. 7 and 3/10 minus 4. Do you see the mistake I made? You see, guys, 4 does not belong in the tenths place. Look at it. It's 4 single ones. But please remember that I have given you the power as a mathematician to write as many zeros to the right of that decimal place as you want. So if it makes you feel a little seasick without that zero there, if that placeholder 0 helps you to get everything lined up and organized, write it in. Why not? I always do. 3 minus 0 in the tenths place, no regrouping there. And 7 minus 4, love that first grade math. 9 and 7/10 minus 2 and 1/10. Let me see. Did I line up my decimals? I certainly did. And so I wonder if there's going to be any regrouping here. I'll start in this smallest place of value just in case. 7 minus 1 is 6. 9 minus 2 is 7. Nope, no regrouping there. Just got to line everything up. But as you probably have seen in your life, subtraction can be a little bit trickier than addition. So sometimes you will have a situation like this, where you've got a whole number with no decimal point, subtracting a mixed number or a decimal that does have a decimal point. And to do that, we're going to have to be super careful to line everything up. So if I put the 6 here in the single ones place, I might choose to go ahead and notice that I'm going to be subtracting some tenths. So maybe I'll just start off by giving myself that decimal point and putting a 0 in the tenths place. And then when I bring my decimal over, my 3 and 6/10, I can stick it right where it belongs. Handy. But now I wonder, will I have some regrouping here? I think so. Do you see why? Because in the tenths place, I've got no tenths. Now, 0 minus 6 would be negative 6, but working in negative numbers is still too hard for me most of the time. So I'm going to use my regrouping here. I'm going to take away one of my single ones, leaving 5, and I'm going to regroup that single one into 10/10. It looks like all the same as when we do it with whole numbers, right? See, that's why you know so much. And we do it just the same way. We just start in the smallest place of value, which in this case is tenths. 10 minus 6 is 4/10. And 5 minus 3 is 2. But you'll notice my green answer right now, it has 24. I also need to bring that decimal point down and get it where it belongs. Because otherwise, 24 is not equal to 2 and 4/10, is it? I mean, let's look at them. Here's 24. And here is 2 and 4/10. Yeah, they are not the same, are they? So those decimal points turn out to be super important. Here we have another example. I have 11. No decimal point anywhere. No matter where I put it, if I see these tenths over here, or even if I just put this here, would it be right to line it up like that? No, there's no decimal point in the 11. Instead, I have to put that decimal point where it belongs, between the whole numbers on this side and the tenths and the pieces and parts over here. but I don't know about you, that is seriously making me sick. So I'm going to use my right as a mathematician to write a placeholder 0 here so that I don't feel so seasick about it anymore. And look, if I start in this lowest place of value, I find that I need to do some regrouping. So I'm going to take away this 1 single 1, leaving 0 single 1s, and break it into 10/10. This time I'll rewrite the whole thing. You can be a squeezer like I was on the first problem over here, or somebody who just likes to cross it out and rewrite. That is up to you, my friend. You do it so it makes sense to you. You're the mathematician here. 10 minus 2 is 8, and this is the 10ths place. So of course I will also bring that decimal point into play so I know what we're talking about. Oh dear, no single ones. Guess I have to do some more regrouping. That's okay. You're an expert at that. You've been doing it for years. 10 minus 3 is 7. 7 and 8/10. What if we have hundredths? I think you know how to do this. I really do. So here's an example where we have 7 and 5/10, minus 3 and 68 hundredths. Now, as with before, I'm going to want to line up my decimals. And as before, I have a little bit of a seasickness here. So if this bothers you at all, as it bothers me, please put that placeholder 0 in there. And you know why it's especially helpful? Because we are going to have to regroup here. Now, we're just going to keep starting in the smallest place of value. In the case of this problem, when we get all those decimals lined up, it's the hundredths place, like the pennies place if we were doing money. Whew, money. So let's regroup 1/10, that's like a dime, leaving 4 dimes, into 10 hundredths, which are like pennies. 10 pennies. When I've done that regrouping, I'm able to do my subtraction and not worry about negative numbers. 10 minus 8 is 2 hundredths. 4 minus 6, uh-oh, I can't do that in positive numbers. Why is it that regrouping across the decimal point just feels hard? You guys, it does. That may squeak you out a bit. But remember, this is our place value system. We need to include that decimal point down here, but 1 single 1 can be broken into 10/10, just like 10/10 can be combined to give us another single 1. So let's take one of these, pretend it's $1, leaving $6 behind. And if we take that dollar and break it into dimes, which are tenths, we will have 14 dimes. Now I can do this. 14 minus 6 is 8, and I'm in positive numbers. I love you regrouping. And 6 minus 3 is 3. One more tricky one, just to make sure you're feeling confident. 2 minus 55 hundredths. Oh my goodness. I have to remember here that this is a whole number. And so, of course, although it has no decimal point, I can always write it there. They could have put a decimal point there. They just chose not to. And you know how mathematicians are. They don't like to do extra writing if they don't have to. Now, of course, I am allowed to place as many zeros to the right of the decimal point as I choose, so that it keeps me from feeling seasick and not knowing how to handle this problem. When I do that, and I move this decimal down here, do you notice how everything is all of a sudden organized once again? But oh my goodness, if I start in the lowest place of value, I'm starting in the hundredths place, and there are none. Where can I get hundredths? Just like with whole numbers, the next place up, the tenths place. Eek! There are no tenths. Where can I get tenths? The next place up, the single ones place. Please nod your head at me if this is looking familiar. If you just get those decimal points lined up, you've got this, my friends. But this is always the trickiest subtraction, isn't it? I'm going to trade one of these single ones for 10/10, leaving 1 here. And I'm going to do some squeezing right now. Squeeze! 10/10. But the reason I got these 10/10 is because I needed some hundredths. So I'm going to take away one of those 10/10, leaving 9. And it just occurred to me that this minus sign might be in your way. Sorry about that, my friends. So if I leave 9/10 here and trade one of them in for hundredths, I'm going to squeeze again. Squeeze! There it is. Now I can subtract in positive numbers. 10 minus 5 is 5. Hello, first grade math fact. 9 minus 5 is 4. Hello, first grade math fact. Here is a decimal point. I must also have a decimal point down here to keep these tenths and hundredths from thinking that they're tens and single ones. No, 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 45 hundredths. You have to stay right there in your place. The decimal point helps me with that. And 1 single 1 minus 0 is 1. Thanks for playing decimals and place value and regrouping with me, my friends. Remember, think about the big ideas here. Put it all together. You've got this. Bye-bye for now.